What are some of the issues Tampa Bay presents? Coach Gray said Baker Mayfield's looking a little bit more comfortable. It was a little vanilla last time. Are you seeing that progression from the last 4 or 5 games, I guess?
Absolutely. Evans is playing fantastic. So, he's getting the ball to him as many times as possible. You got an offensive line who's come together, and they are playing better, running the football better. And then Baker in the offense is you can see he's feeling very comfortable setting his feet when he's throwing. He knows where to go with the football. And then I don't think he gets enough credit for moving around, extending plays, getting a first down with his legs when they need it. He does a fantastic job of that. He's playing at a high level. We've got a tough task ahead of us.
What did you make of Clark's performance in for AJ?
Yeah, he played pretty good. Played tough. He executed really, really fast football. And that when you turn back, you watch the tape. I mean, he flew around, and so you kind of guys play fast like that. The confidence, they know where to be. What we're doing defensively. But out there making tackles, he had some really big tackles. The punch out with, he was the one on the tackle, on the draw play. So it was good to see. He played a couple games earlier in the season. He played okay then. He raised his performances level, and we've just got to continue to do that with him.
How important was that to see with Mike Hughes is continuing to practice, but with AJ and concussion stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, look, we talk to our guys all the time. If you have a jersey on and you're up for game day, you're going to play in this defense. And that's really held true it's really the whole season. We play a lot of guys. Keeps guys fresh at the end of games. And you never know. It is a long season. If you have a nick here and there, the next guy's ready to step up and make a play. That was a great example of that.
Coach, how has Contavious played for you since he came over from the Eagles?
He's played pretty good. Played pretty good. Obviously, there's some history there with him. But he came over, stepped right in, playing very strong at the point of attack. Contavious has excellent speed and burst, and you can see him make some plays outside the box. That's helped us. Play last week on a toss play, and he was a pretty good pass rusher. So, getting him in the lineup and it's helped our defense for sure.
You mentioned the not having a touchdown for a couple games now. Especially with those red zone plays, like how difficult is it mentally to for those guys to just not allow that touchdown?
Well, it's just talk a lot about red zone defense and the importance of red zone defense and keeping touchdowns off the board, and that's where first it starts. And we started all the way back in OTAs, and we had a lot of plays against our offense, and we've just tried to. As we coach our players, and our players have really bought into keeping it simple, not being overly complicated down there. You have to be good at tackling team in the red zone. Leaky yardage gives up touchdowns. I mean, that's just is what happens. And then our communication. And so with those couple of things coming together, and then we've had some success earlier in the year, and that has just, raise the level of confidence every time we get down there. And I'll tell you, it's pretty cool on the sideline when we get down there and the guys, we make a stop and the guys come off, and the look on their faces, they raise their level of play down in that part of the field, and you have to, it's one of the most crucial areas on the field, right? And so they've gone out there, and you can see them talking, and Jesse's done a fantastic job in getting it, calming everybody down, because if the ball gets down there, generally something bad happens for it to get down there. And so he gets everybody together, and Calais is out there, and he calms everybody down, and our guys go out and execute. Staff have done a great job in terms of what the offense is doing, teaching it to our guys, in the meetings and things like that. And so I feel like our guys have a pretty good understanding of the opponent and what plays they're going to see down there.
Anything else?
Yeah, Coach, you've been in NFC South since 17. What are some of the characteristics of the division games that when you all get together, like we'll have on Sunday here?
Yeah, just like this one is a playoff game. I mean, it's just it's the mindset in this late in the season, and we've got to win every single one of them. Obviously, again, each game is one unit, and not one unit is bigger than any other. But the reason why this game is so big is it is a we have an opportunity to go one up on these guys and be in the division game. So that's huge ultimately. Mm-hmm. But I think if you start looking at, hey, one game is bigger than another game, then that's when you start riding the roller coaster of the season. And so we try to keep everything, like last week was a big game, and this week is another big game. Well, you know what? There's going to be another big game the next week. We're going to continue to play in bigger games as long as we continue to win games. And so if we go into the mindset and defensively, we're just going in there and look, it's a big one. Everybody knows it is. But it's about execution and fundamentals, technique. In the division, it's always about that and the line of scrimmage play and limiting explosive plays, tackling in space, and takeaways. I mean, it's always just, it's just bigger in the division. Been in a lot of these division games against this opponent, and every single one, it's a physical game, and generally the most physical team is the one that comes out on top, and the other part of that is the one who takes the football away the best. That's typically what happens.
And so you said, what have they been doing better in the run game? Because the numbers don't look too good, but.
Well, that was if you really look at it from the last time we played them till this time, Back's got a couple 100-yard games and against Indy, and he's running. He knows where the holes are. The offensive line are doing a good job on the first level, creating some knockback. And I think they've simplified the scheme maybe a little bit. More formation, adjustment, things like that. But you see the same runs. They've just got a lot of window dressing on it, and their guys seem to know where the targets are going to be and blocking schemes and things like that. And so they've gotten better at it. It's helped them, and it's going to be a challenge.
Kind of on that note, this is a little more high level, but I think a lot of us kind of instinctually know what makes a good pass rusher and the kind of things. Like, what makes a good edge run defender, like in terms of physical attributes, mental, technical?
Yeah, it starts up, mental. Starts up, it has to be physical. A good edge defender is a physical guy on the edge and crushing the edge of the opponent. That's where it all starts. Now, you got all shapes and sizes, doing it. There's some really big guys that, can get it done. But there's some other guys that, come off and strike the point of attack and play with good pad level and hands and fundamentals. But the intensity of how we go about and doing it, that's the most important thing. So I think if you have that, and then the fundamentals and technique come next. But it's the mindset of, hey, if the ball runs to my side, I'm going to knock the line of scrimmage 3 yards back.
I was asking Coach Art this big NFC South battle on Sunday. What have been your impressions since coming, to the division?
And even before the division, just my time in the NFC. Again, going against Coach Bowles and all the defensive issues that he presents and the style of play in which they play in, and again, going into the game this week, really no different in terms of when you put the film on. It's aggressive. They play with really good technique. They're violent when they come to the ball carrier. They try to disguise coverage. He does a really good job of mixing in his calls. He's been in this league a long time. He understands how to attack an offense. Just a ton of respect for what they do and getting ready for the opponent that we're going to play here Sunday.
During that Jets game, just what did you observe from the team and Desmond in particular, I guess, just based on the conditions and kind of the way things went? I'm sure it's kind of not exactly how you guys, planned it up, score a touchdown every drive or whatever, but being able to kind of adapt in that situation. And
my conditions were great in the box. I'm not sure how it was in the field. And that is true sometimes, right? In my career, you sometimes forget that, you're looking through a glass and, what the weather conditions are. And you try, obviously, stay in tune with that. But, look, and like I said it during the week last week, no different than this week. The Jets, defensively, do a phenomenal job of how they play. So a lot of credit to what they do. But yeah, there was things at times, like every game, you go back and if something doesn't work, right, why? And there was times where, we had certain things that, hey, the defense took this away. What's our next course of action, especially at quarterback? And sometimes the next course of action in that game was something that Dez did do, which was throw it away, take off and go. And again, it was one of those where, in presented with some tight window throws, I thought he made a few of those. Presented with the opportunity to extend a play, I thought he did that. And then again, you go back and you look at the whole offense in general. There was times where we got into rhythm and there was consistency and things showed up. And that's really the key, right? In any offense or any defense, and you're playing football, is you want consistency and rhythm with each play, each drive. And you got to score points. And I think that there was times where we got out of rhythm, got off track. And again, going in this week, those are things that obviously we need to make sure that we try to nip and go ahead and fix. And we've got a great opponent to try to do that against. There's no doubt.
Also, I just wanted to ask, you don't have to shed any light, obviously, on strategic stuff. I'm not asking really for specifics, but Arthur talks a lot about the center in this offense, has a lot on his plate. That's kind of the word he uses a lot. What are those things, I guess, just generally speaking? And, I'm just kind of thinking about it in the context of Drew maybe not being able to play and Ryan coming in.
I think, when you look at centers in general, right, we can go as back to when everybody started playing football. They're the one who sets the huddle. Now, I know in certain levels of football, huddles they're gone, right, D-Led? Like, you don't get in a huddle anymore. But here in the NFL level, right, for the most part, we get in a huddle. And it's setting that, right, at that depth, making sure everybody's in before the quarterback is hearing the play before he steps into that huddle. So there's that small intangible part of it. And when we break the huddle, being able to ID things, what we ask in both run and pass game and the communication. And so when you look at it, you want to be strong up the middle with communication, regardless of what sport you're talking about. You usually hear that in baseball, but it's true in football in both offense and defense from a communication standpoint. And again, there's always going to be a new center in practice, or even what happened in times during the season when a center goes out, there's always the snaps, right? Get some snaps with that guy. You do it in practice, but again, getting in game-like situations. But outside of that, again, not in the context of what Coach was speaking about, for me, it always just starts with that part of it, right? Conviction, command, and communication, regardless if you're talking about the quarterback or the center. And that's what we ask from a standard standpoint.
Bijan has seen increased usage these past few games. I know it takes all 11, but just how valuable has his play been as you make this playoff push?
Yeah, you can tell you're part of the Falcons media corps with the take all 11 thing there, D-Led. There we go. Look, yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot when you look at certain players and how they're deployed or the production and stuff like that. And again, I think there's also circumstances in which that happens within games. Again, go back to last week, right? Need to be better on third down. We've been good on third down. Need to be better on third down. If you don't get a chance to stay on the field long enough to sustain those drives, right, then sometimes the production or the reps of the plays, right, you just don't get a lot of them, and you don't get in a rhythm. And I think that sometimes plays into it. But, yeah, for all of us, players included with the coaches, is getting the most out of each player, each play, and putting them in the best position to be successful. And it takes all of it.
And considering that McCole Pruitt is one of those all 11.
There we go. You got a statistic for me on this one?
Yeah.
There you do.
He said he think he could still hit that 4.58 he ran at the combine.
So what people maybe don't know, I mean, I don't know why you would, but I was with him in 2016. And so, what is that, 7-8 years ago now? So I got and when we had him in Chicago, he was pass catching. Yeah, like he had been one of those where, like, when we were at practice, but you're like, man, woo, and then, fast forward. And what I give a ton of credit to him is he's found a way throughout his career to understand how to get the most out of his ability and position himself to make sure that, hey, I'm getting this. He can think himself out there in terms of putting himself in the best position, which is cool to see. I was with him, I should say, when he was just a younger player, and then now a veteran. Just seeing how he's grown as a player is pretty cool to see.
You know
Obviously-
what, industrial, okay.
Obviously, we don't know exactly who's going to play or what, and that's all, game designations are on Friday. But with Caleb and Drew, sent out yesterday, how does that change things when it's not just one offensive lineman, but then two?
Yeah, I think what we've been able to do is really since Coach Smith has taken over this program is the way that we go about practice. There's constant changing of parts within the practice of people, regardless of what your designation is, going in and getting reps. And for us, the important thing is, and we said this before, is if you get a helmet on game day, you're a starter, just depending on when you get out there. And again, I think when you saw that in the game, Storm comes in, there was really no blink to his game, and we went about the game as if he had been the starter the whole time. And I think that's more about how we train, how we practice, what coach preaches, and just carrying it forward from the assistant coaches, that everybody needs to be ready. So in terms of all the potential lineup, not potential lineup issues, we practice a certain way that we feel confident in. Whoever gets a helmet on Sunday is ready to play.
And just at this point of the season, what are some areas that you feel like the offense still has a chance to grow with a couple weeks?
Yeah, I think, the way that you look at it each week, you look at again, we had a bye week a few weeks ago, and you get a chance to take a deep breath without a game to prepare for, like I said last week. But, what you get into is each week you're presented with different challenges what the defense has. What we constantly love about the players that we have and the coach that we have is that every day we're trying to go out there and work on something. It might be one thing that day. Give you for example, from a quarterback standpoint, that we ask the quarterback to get better at that day. Sometimes you try to get better at 20 things, right? You're not really focused to try to get those 20 things better. There's a lot of things to handle. But you focus on one thing per day, and you take that incremental step. And again, that's what you see out here is guys with growth mindsets, going out practicing, trying to give great looks in the scout team, and vice versa, and trying to be a good teammate. And coaches going out there and trying to push our players regardless of what part of the season we're in. And I think that's what's the cool part about being part of this organization, just thankful about.
I'll start it off. One was congratulate Bradley Pinion being the Walter Payton Man of the Year for our organization. It's a huge accomplishment. And the work that him and his wife, Kaylee, have they done these last couple of years, and both on and off the field, it speaks highly about who he is as an individual, on and off the field, and we're very excited as an organization for him to represent us with that award. Going into this past game, the Jets, I thought the specialists did a really good job of handling those elements, along with our core players. Bradley did a great job of flipping the field, whether you're talking about a kickoff after a safety or his punts that he had. Some of them weren't ideal, but when it mattered and we had to do it in the fourth quarter, he did a great job flipping the field with the field punt in minus territory and then pinning them back on the 7-yard line before we got in that final drive to finish the game on defense. So overall, it was a great team win. It was good to see those guys go out there and operate at a high level no matter what the elements were, and we look forward to Tampa this week.
Yeah, Coach, what would be some of the issues facing Coach Armstrong and his units?
Oh, where do we start? Well, Coach Armstrong, those guys are going to come out on all 6 phases playing hard, and they're a bigger team. When you talk about their core players with Pat O'Connor, Nielsen, then they have who else do they have? I'm going brain dead for a second. Nielsen, he's one of the core guys. Diaby, if he's out there playing as well. They play with bigger guys when it comes to their core guys, and they do a great job. Oh, Ko Keith. I can't forget about this dude. He made a tackle versus last time we played them. He's one of their top leaders and tacklers. KJ Britt, if he's out there playing for them, I know he played a little bit on defense and he was limited, but we expect for him to be out there. He's one of their lead tacklers. And then when you talk about the safety body types, Merriweather is one of their top tacklers as well. And then on the perimeter, they have Josh Hayes out of K-State, the rookie, number 32, who's flying downfield on kickoff and on punt, and he's very disruptive when it comes to that. Then return game, Devin Tompkins, he's been lighting it up. He had a big return versus San Fran. He's a dual returner, quick. I know he's small in stature, but he runs bigger than what his size appears to be. And he's quick, he's fast, will get vertical, and he's fearless. And then McLaughlin, their kicker, he's only missed 2 kicks this year, which 2 of them were blocked. He hasn't missed a PAT as of yet, and he's been playing really well when it comes to that. And obviously Jake Camarda, Georgia, second year out of Georgia, he's done a great job of flipping the field. Athletic punter that does both punts and kickoffs, and he has tremendous hang time on both operations. So our hands are going to be tied this week. They're good all across the board, and it's going to be a great atmosphere for our guys, a great environment to go out there and put together on all 6 phases, good 4 quarters of football.
Do you have a sense on why we're starting to see some block punts here late in the season? A lot of stuff on film, people are figuring it out, or?
I wouldn't say you don't see a lot of block punts. I think as the season goes on, early in the season, right when you start the football season, sometimes you're playing tackle football. It's hard to simulate tackle football in a practice. So you get into the game and you're blocking, tackling, getting off blocks, rushing punts, rushing kicks, pad level, all those basic fundamentals. You'll see as the season goes on, it gets better, and then as the season getting to the middle to the end of the season, sometimes it starts to die down, and that's where, as an organization, as a football team, our fundamentals are our edge. So sometimes, you look at the Tennessee game, that's the second time Tennessee played Indianapolis. So those guys, they have a good feel for each other being a divisional opponent. And when you look at it, at the end of the day, sometimes it could be an operational issue or it could be just a fundamental issue. And it's our job as a coaching staff, we talk about special teams, to make sure that we're dialed in and that our guys are obviously always playing with great effort, have their mindset is good, but our technique is top tier, and we're making sure that we're being able to execute the highest level possible, whether we're going after blocks, whether we're protecting a block, whether we're catching a football, whether we're attacking a football. Those things, or kicking a football. So those things all matter. You could get fixated in situations like Bradley being backed up trying to punt the ball, or you can focus on your details and your fundamentals to go out there and execute. So sometimes that happens in a season to where sometimes people's techniques kind of go down, and that's always our emphasis each and every day, each and every week, to have our fundamentals be our edge.
And going down the stretch, I know back in the day they Crown one of them kind of started putting starters out there and getting Desmond Howard free, and is there a way that the special teams can amp up to help the team battle for the division title?
Each and every day is about us being able to have that one play mentality. That's our goal each and every week. We're extension and a direct correlation to our offense and defense, just no different than our offense and defense are a direct correlation of our special teams. We're always looking to play the game smart, mean but clean, as we say in our room, to make sure that we're putting ourselves in good field position so our offense could, be able to, our play callers on offense could be able to put the ball in better field position for us and set up scores. Coverage-wise, we're always looking to flip the field to put our defense in the best field position possible. So that's a goal each and every week. It doesn't change. We're always looking to play playoff winning football when it comes to what we do as a special teams unit for the Falcons. And anyway, like we're guaranteed a kickoff and a kickoff return, D-Led. I say that each and every week. And we never know when those situations are going to pop up. So all we try to do is stay prepared before any opportunity presents itself so we could go out there and help our offense and defense and help our team win ball games.
And the Hall of Fame voters have to the 19th to put their ballots in. Hester's on the ballot again. You feel you have something to say to them? People can watch this on YouTube and stuff. On his Hall of Fame worthiness. I mean, you got a lot of returners that are out there that, Cribbs, Billy White Shoes, Church, that haven't gotten in. But Hester's, they keep bringing them back. But what do you say about his candidacy? And then would it be a way to solve things, like create a, kind of special teams lane for people to get to Canton? That, I know it's so hard getting more than that.
Yeah, well, there's so many different ways you can look at it. But I will say this about Devin Hester, D-Led. He changed the game. He changed the way people punted the ball, the way they covered, the way they strategized on how to cover kicks, put it, and he was able to flip the field. He was explosive, and he was a home run threat every single time he touched the football, whether he was on kickoff return or punt return. It was funny because I was going back and watching some film when CP was younger, like his second or third year in, and it was a battle at Soldier Field between CP and Devin Hester. And every time one of those guys touched the ball, it was the other team they were getting the ball around the 50-yard line, if not scoring. But every time, people were at the edge of their seat when they watched Devin Hester as a returner. And when you're doing that, whether you're watching as a fan or a coach as a player, you're an impact player. And he was very impactful in the game of football and in the NFL. So anytime you're an impactful player and you're able to change the game in that way, and you're automatically directly correlated to putting points on the board, you have my vote as an individual, as a Hall of Famer.
Pinion had a season high 4 inside the 20 against the Jets. How difficult or even rare is that with those elements?
It is rare, and I give a lot of credit to our core players, where you talk about our gunners, our pump protection, because without having the protection, he's not able to do his job. And then the other part is, our Liam, and those elements, being able to get the ball back there so Bradley could focus on his details and his fundamentals to go out there and execute that. So it is hard in those elements, and then the ball is not shaped like a normal, cylinder ball, like a circular ball. So that ball could take a bounce any type of way. So when it comes to those things, it's a big credit to all those guys. And you can ask Bradley, he can't do it without the other 10 guys on the field with them. And it's a credit to all those guys. Bradley's doing a phenomenal job, and he continues to get better with reps. If you asked him, he wouldn't say that wasn't his best game. So we look forward to going into this week versus Tampa, and whether he gets 1 opportunity, 0 opportunities, or if he gets 4, he's going to make the best out of them, and he wants to make sure that he puts his best foot forward for our team.
If memory serves me correctly, I think yesterday in the locker room I saw special teams player of the week in Kadaryl's locker. Was that correct?
He's won it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just what does he bring to special teams, and what are some things that maybe we don't see who aren't so adept to everything on special teams?
It's rare when you get an offensive player like Hodge, Red we call him. He does it. He's an offensive player, and I don't know if you guys would know, last year he led our team in special teams tackles as an offensive player, as a receiver. And he provides a lot of versatility, experience, knowledge, his passion, his effort. I think he leads by example. Guys respect him because he's been doing it for a while. That's how he's made a name in the NFL. You go back from the Rams when he played for them, when he played for the Browns. I used to coach against him when he was with the Rams and with the Browns. He's with the Lions in 2021, D-led. He ran a fake on us, got a first down as a gunner. And, every time he's on the field, he shows up, and he's reliable. And that's one thing that's awesome to have, a guy like himself who's reliable, where you look at him on offense or on special teams, he's a football player. And that's cool to be around a guy that's just a football player, and he doesn't limit himself to just being a receiver, doesn't limit himself to be a cover guy or a blocker when it comes to the return game. And anytime we're looking for someone to make a play, he's always showing up, and that's what matters most. And he continues to get better at reps. The guys love playing, on the same team as him, and they respect him throughout the league. So those are things that I valued coaching against him, and it's been a blessing having him in the building.
And you mentioned Pinion's Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Did you know that they were surprising him when you walked in there, or was it just going to go in there and congratulate him?
Yeah, we knew we were surprising him. And again, it's cool just to be a part of that, just to be a part of his life and watch how he goes about his business both on and off the field. And then to see the recognition that he gets, it's an amazing opportunity for him and his family. And I'm very blessed to be a part of what he's doing both on and off the field.
Yeah, hey Jesse, how's that preparation been going for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, it's been good. Another great week of preparation. This week presents its own challenges, and guarding Mike Evans and being able to stop the run game. So it's a big game that we've earned to be in. So just excited to go out there and go 1-0 and defend our home field.
And you discussed Mike. He's having another 1,000-yard season. What makes him so tough, and how does he stress out secondaries?
Yeah, I think Mike Evans the biggest thing that shows, I think, his experience, the way he runs his routes. I think everything looks the same, whether he's running a go ball, whether he's running a comeback. Everything that he does looks the same, and Baker does a really good job of, sometimes he forces him the ball, which, I mean, that's what you do with Hall of Fame type of, wide receiver. So, yeah.
Anything y'all could learn from the first game? You had the one catch, but didn't really go, big time bad. But what can y'all take from that first meeting?
Yeah, I would say the big part was Baker had got out on a couple of sacks that we had him bottled up in, and then, like you said, the explosive play to 13. Just having the awareness of every time that he's on the field, know where he's at, and be aware, where our defense is weak at. So, yeah, it's just another game, like you said. You can learn from it, but it's another week. It's a new week, new game, new game plan I'm sure they'll have for us. So just going out there and doing our job and executing the game plan.
And Coach Nielsen said that he made a point to us today that they're running the ball a little bit better than they have been early in the season. Are you seeing that on tape also?
Yeah, I think number one has, gotten going a little bit more. A lot of their runs, I think when we first played them, came out of dot, came out of under center kind of quarterback. They're doing a lot more gun type of runs. Like I said, they're getting number one, the ball a little bit more, which helps out, getting Mike the ball, mixing it up when they're in gun, whether they're running the ball or trying to get the ball to 13 or 14. So.
We asked Richie yesterday what are the keys to forcing turnovers, and he said to have you on their team. What do you feel like for you? What does it boil down to in continuing to force those turnovers?
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities out there. Anytime a ball carrier has the ball, it's not something that Richie always jokes around. It's just me, but it's a collective group kind of mentality at every level, whether it's D-line, linebackers, safeties, secondary. We all got to be able to punch the ball when it's exposed. And then, the turnovers, Baker will give the ball. Like I said, he'll force feed 13 at times, and we got to make him pay when it's time.
As far as the celebration goes, whose idea was that, and did you guys practice that, or did that just kind of come about? Yeah,
it's something that we need to find a new one. We're kind of playing the bomb thing out, so we'll have to figure out something else celebration-wise. But it's a collective group type of thing, wanting to have some juice and give our offense some juice when they're running on the field when we get a turnover. So.
How have you seen defense or offenses kind of change their game plans for you now over the last couple of weeks?
I wouldn't say it's for me, but I mean, there's times where we haven't been able to. I'm sorry, but the biggest thing is just not letting the ball go over our heads. I feel like that we've done a really good job of that the last couple of weeks of one, getting off on third down, and then not giving up explosive plays in the pass game. I don't really think about offense's game plan to me. I think about what we're going to do and what our game plan is to stop their offense. So, yeah.
You've been in these stretch runs before December where you're playing meaningful games, fighting for seeding and division titles and everything, but you're no stranger to seeing the injuries can take a toll. Dee was speaking about next man up. You guys have really mastered that. How would you speak to your guys' ability with that, especially in the secondary?
Yeah, it's been something that I think Coach Nielsen, he's been a great leader for us. In those meeting rooms, he's not just asking starters. Throughout the year, he hasn't been just asking starters what we're doing for game plan wise. He's asking practice squad guys, backups, just because there's no drop off when the next man's up. So, like you said, I mean, it's the next man mentality. We got trust. I mean, there's been plenty of examples. Nate Lamon coming in and, making big plays for us. So it gives other people confidence when, their number's called. They can go in there and do the same thing.
Is that something you've seen at previous teams before, or is this something unique to
Yeah, I think it's just something that how it is in the NFL. People get hurt all the time, and that presents a challenge. I mean, it presents challenges, obviously, for new people to get in there, but it also presents an opportunity for the next guy up. And like I said, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. When your number's called, it's time to go, and put what you've been working all your whole life for that one opportunity to put it on film, on tape.
Is there anything you've said to Clark, either at that game or leading up to this week with the cornerback situation a little up in the year?
Yeah, just giving him that confidence. I remember being a rookie playing in my first couple games, and just kind of having that nerve of my first time playing football. But it's not that he's been drafted here for a reason. He's a great football player. So just continue to pump confidence into whether it's a new player, whether it's Clark, whoever it is. That he's not only out there by himself, he's out there with his brothers, other 10 brothers that's out there fighting with him. So, yeah.
Hey, just you coming over from the AFC North, been around the block one time in the South here. What are some of the characteristics of the South as you all try to, take command of the division here on Sunday?
Yeah, obviously every conference is a little bit different, but it doesn't change. I think you got to win your division to win to get into the playoffs, and we've set ourselves up for a really good situation that we're in, but that doesn't matter right now. We got one game to go 1-0 against the Bucs, and whether you're playing for the AFC North or the NFC South, whatever it is, it's going to be a tough football game that matters. Like I said, that we earn to play in, so it's a great opportunity for us to go out there and take over the division.